you calling old? That's what I was saying.
Mike Clay old.
No, yeah, exactly.
Mike.
That question was directed at Mike Clay, and this whole segment is directed at Mike Clay.
Dang
Mike
right.
Clay, who has the nerve to come in on Halloween dressed as an old running back.
No.
So much for, listen. I have so much I want to say. It's hard to even know where to start, but I'm going to start with Saquon Barkley, who, by the way, as of right now, as of Sunday night, was the first among running backs, second overall in fantasy points on the night. Looked unbelievable. I could give you all the numbers: 27 carries, 159 yards, and a touchdown, 3 catches for 40 yards, and a receiving touchdown, 32.9 fantasy points. Here's what I want to talk to you about. It's how he looked. If you don't have the fortune to watch all of the games, you need to go back and find some of the highlights of Saquon Barkley. Now, somebody got upset with me for promoting this athletic catch that he did because it was so unbelievable. Like, he's got to be careful. He could get injured that way. And my response to it was, if you didn't see it, Saquon Barkley basically did a reverse hurdle.
He moved the guy.
It was like a
we can't show it.
Jump.
We asked our producer to take 600 photos of still frames and then put them back to back to back so you could see it all happen.
There it is. Okay, if you're watching, here's what you need to understand. He was facing backwards when he made that leap, but I want you to see how he is folded in half. Like, how many of you could get into that position, I don't care how old you are, where your legs are basically fully extended, you're stretching your hamstring, your back is folded in half. To me, that just spoke to his mobility, the agility, the power, like everything that he has. Those are traits that if you're telling me a running back's too old to be doing things, a running back cannot do that. Now that to me is the Saquon's proof that he is not too old to play the position. Shame on you for thinking these guys should not get second deals. He was just one of 3 that I wanted to highlight. 3 of the top 5 finishers, running back finishers on the evening are in at least their second deal. The other one, Alvin Kamara, 29 years old. Oh, just ancient. And Derrick Henry, 30.
Continues to crush.
Certainly needs to be put out to pasture, right? But no, Derrick Henry continues to, there's so much stats on him. Listen, 10th straight game scoring a touchdown. He
seems good.
Yep. And as far as there was something I wanted to point out from Next Gen Stats that you just need to understand isn't directly telling you about fantasy points, but indirectly is telling you why he's scoring so many fantasy points. He forced 13 missed tackles, tied for the most missed tackles forced in a game this year. He has accounted for 2 of the top 3 games in missed tackles. Nobody can stop him. And this is why he continues to put up so many rushing yards per game. He's over 1,000 rushing yards already on the season.
13 total touchdowns so far this year. That 20 touchdowns.
Yeah, so if you like touchdowns,
you were way too low.
I was way too low saying 20 for the bold call.
He's on pace for a 2,000-yard season.
2,000 yards and over 20 touchdowns. That is a running back era that we no longer really live in, and yet Derrick Henry is still living in that era.
Right.
So
I mean, he's like the epitome of the old school, not the old running back. I just think that we're going to have to rethink when we come into next year. And it's a reminder that every athlete is unique, right? And I get that there is data that supports that there's a shelf life on players in the NFL and running backs in particular. But it's also a reminder that you have to use that data carefully and not apply it across the board without looking at the individual characteristics of the athlete.
Yeah. I just want to say that I either need Panini or Topps or Fanatics to make sure that they get a trading card made of Saquon jumping backwards over a defender, because that's just like one of the most iconic images that I have ever seen on a football field.
Awesome. Hey, if anybody out there who's listening and was watching the game closely yesterday is smarter than me, can explain this to me. Saquon also lost a fumble yesterday that was returned for a touchdown. It was in this weird play. And after the game, the pool reporter said something to the effect of, yes, a Jaguars defender contacted Saquon Barkley, but apparently he then made contact with his own offensive lineman, and then he stumbled, so it wasn't a fumble. I thought the rule was if you are contacted by a defensive player and then your body touches the ground, a knee, an elbow, a shin, whatever it might be, that means you're down. Apparently not. Again, it's 2 points. You're going to be fine, but just a weird. I thought I knew the rule book pretty well, but apparently not.
You know, I thought I knew the rules too, and then there have been so many times where it's turned out I don't know the rules of football.
No one knows what it counts.
I don't think anybody knows all the rules. We learn something new every week.
It seems like it, yeah.